A few years back, I built this office cabinet and then later made some drawer organizers using my laser cutter, which at the time worked great. But then over the years, I just started tossing anything in there as long as they fit the different size cubbies. And in the end, I was still having trouble finding exactly what I needed because this right here just doesn't organize anything. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to easily model and 3D print custom organizers that gives everything its dedicated spot so that they're always easily accessible, and more importantly, I know exactly where everything is. This is the epitome of a place for everything and everything in its place. And of course, there are several ways to go about creating these custom bins. The easiest is just using the Gridfinity system that was developed by Zach Friedman and downloading pre-made models from their huge library, which is a great way to get started. But for me personally, I don't like to be tied down to someone else's design because what works for them or how they like to have things laid out might not work for me. And also, I have things that have a unique shape that doesn't have files available online, like the Space Mouse Pro that has this varying taper around the bottom, which we're gonna get into a little bit later in the video. But first things first. Using those dimensions, I sketched out a rectangle inside of Shaper 3D, created an offset for the drawer thickness, and extruded it to the height of the drawer box. This sets the outer boundary of the space I may be working with. And now we're ready to start creating our custom bins. So for things with a simple geometry like my storage drives, the easiest would just be to use calipers and a ruler. And after roughly laying out the drives, I went back into Shaper 3D to sketch a rectangle and extruded that to make the base. Then on the top surface, I sketched a few more rectangles with the dimensions of the storage drives I measured earlier and pushed those down to make the cutout. And storing them vertically helps to maximize the storage space. Now for other objects that are also flat but they're just too large to sit in the drawers vertically, like this Apple trackpad, we can take advantage of the height and stack other flat items on top, like these portable power banks. And of course, we don't always need a custom bin for everything, right? So for these highlighters, on top of that is my favorite pencil, along with some refills and a wall charger. Now, for all of these items so far, all I've been doing inside Shaper 3D is sketching a rectangle, extruding it into the base, and then pushing profiles into it to cut out the basic shapes I needed for storing these items, and then pulling sharp edges to create any roundovers I might need. But for things with a more complicated shape, like this caliper, I use my phone to take a picture with at least 2x zoom to minimize any distortion and making sure that the phone is level. After importing the image into Shaper 3D, I sketched the line representing the actual length of the caliper and then adjusted the size of the image until it matched that dimension. So unlike before where I just used the rectangle tool to create the pockets in the base, this time I'm using the line tool to trace the image of the caliper, leaving about 1mm of space around all sides for clearance. The final profile is what I used to cut out the space I needed, and I also added finger holes so that I can easily grab and take out the tool. And once that's done, I also added space for my camera tool and a foldable ruler to the same print. I used that same method to create the storage for holding my wireless Space Mouse. And as you can see, we still have this little space we need to fill in, and I don't really know what I want to store in there yet. So for now, it's just going to be a couple bins for random things. Another miscellaneous bin for some smaller items, and a custom bin on top for my multi-tool and a couple of remotes. So even when we're making a custom cutout for this guy here, we're still more or less using basic shapes, right? We're using straight lines and then we're extruding straight down. But like I said earlier, what if we want to make a custom recess for something like this, where the side face has this varying taper as it wraps around the unit? And at the time of me making this video, I have not found any 3D models of this guy or any custom bins on any of the 3D printing websites. So if we want to create a recess for this to sit perfectly into, we're going to need a 3D scanner. This is the MetroY Pro 3D scanner that Revopoint sent me a couple months ago. It's a wireless blue laser scanner that's capable of capturing 2 million points per second. And usually if we're scanning a black shiny surface like the one on the Space Mouse Pro, it would require pre-treatment with a 3D scanning spray because one black surface absorbs all the light while the shiny surface scatters the light away from the sensor. So this is possibly the worst case scenario for something like this. But with MetroY Pro's advanced multi-line blue laser technology, I was actually able to get highly accurate scans of the surfaces without using any type of spray. Also, there's this new high-speed scanning mode, which relaxes the stitching angle tolerance, meaning that we can tilt the scanner further so that it's easier to get high-quality scans even when we need to make large turns like I do with the Space Mouse. So keep in mind that we're only creating a void for this part to sit into, which means we only need the data for the bottom face and the side face. So once I saw the model is all filled in, I merged the data using the one-click edit option. The data, of course, also includes the rotating base. So to get rid of that, use the select connection tool, click on the Space Mouse, and then click on delete unselected content, making really quick work of that. I also use the polygon tool to pick and delete any details I don't need for our custom bin, like the feed on the bottom, the USB dongle, and the power button. And this process doesn't have to be perfect, but we do want to make sure that all the holes are filled in afterwards. What I love about this method is that once the mesh is imported into Shaper 3D, or I guess any CAD program for that matter, it's already at the correct scale. So all we need to do is move the mesh into the position we want and increase the overall size just a little bit because we are creating a void for the part to sit into. And I found that 1% was perfect for this case. Finally, using the subtract tool inside of Shaper 3D, we can remove the mesh from our base and send it. So despite how perfect the Space Mouse Pro sits in the tray, you probably noticed that this bottom surface is quite rough. And the reason for that is because this surface is actually sloped, because I wanted this guy to sit in here at an angle. And since conventional 3D printers print objects in layers, what you see here are the layer steps for creating the sloped surface. One way we can smooth this out is by reducing the layer height, but unfortunately that's going to increase your print time and material usage. And even then, it's only going to make this a little bit smoother. So if we want to completely get rid of this, we have to prime tower fell, so the print got a little bit rough at the end, but as you can see, printing this vertically completely removed the layer steps because it printed the slope on a single layer. But as you probably saw, we also had to add supports, which once again were adding to the print time and material usage. So was it really worth it? In this case, probably no, because all I wanted to do was create a custom pocket for this guy to sit into, which it does. So that was my very first time using a 3D scanner, and to be quite honest, I was very surprised at how fast and easy the whole process was. And I was using the high-speed scanning mode, which allows me to tilt the scanner at a more severe angle and still allow me to get high-quality readings from the markers. So I think they said, 30 degrees now, whereas in the past I had to keep the scanner at 90 to 45 degrees, somewhere in between that. So because now I can tilt it more, I can transition to the other faces much smoother, and that was really helpful for this case. Also, the software, it just made editing the mesh incredibly easy. I think it was just like 2 clicks and done, and also I didn't get any errors exporting the STL into Shaper 3D. The two programs worked incredibly well together. Also, besides the automatic turntable, there's also a mobile kit included with the MetroY Pro that allows the user to attach their phone and stream the scan in real time via Wi-Fi 6 to the computer, which I think is going to be really useful for larger projects, or if later I want to do scans in the shop so I don't have wires running across the floor, right? Yeah, so lots of potential for this, but you guys definitely don't need a 3D scanner to still have a beautifully organized space, because I feel like just knowing Shaper 3D or any CAD program and having a 3D printer is more than enough. But then at the same time, I feel like if you know CAD and have a 3D printer, also owning a 3D scanner would just open up a lot of doors for what what you can potentially create. So yeah, guys, hopefully this was helpful. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about 3D scanning and 3D printing and all of that. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.